Namaskar, Jai Hind. Welcome to MMK The Eagle View. Those who haven't subscribed, kindly please subscribe. It's a new channel, it requires a lot of your support. We as a team have been putting in a lot of effort to convey the best possible content to you about geopolitics and the global security and about India as well. Apologies for the last 2-3 videos. I was held up in my farm work. Unfortunately, I couldn't carry my the camera's charger, so it was shot on a mobile phone's front camera. So you would have seen bit of pixel distortions and audio issues. Kindly bear with us, and next time onwards we will ensure you get a very good quality video content. Today let's see an update on the Israel-Hamas front. They has entered day 28th. This has been now we can call it as a full-fledged war. It's no more a conflict. It's a highly pitched battle. Multiple players are coming in, which is very, very unfortunate. Let's see who all have come in now. Houthis, who are basically a proxy of Iran and control a sizable portion of Jordan, has joined the bandwagon now. Houthis have officially declared that we are going to be part of the resistant axis, which is nothing but the axis of Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis and Iran and few other militant groups who are based out of the Syria and Iraq area. Now Houthis are sizable. They are not equipped with high-end weapons, but they are a sizable ground force, so it's going to create a lot of stress for Israel in its current operations. Houthis have fired few missiles, to be precise around 17 times. There is a conflict between Houthis and the Israeli Defense Forces, which is called as IDF. Hezbollah was threatening. Now Hezbollah has also escalated its attack on Israel, and Israel is also paying back to Hezbollah. So Houthis base in Jordan has been hit by Israeli missiles. Similarly, Hezbollah has also been hit in the Lebanon area. When we look at Jordan, we have seen Damascus was hit. Lebanon, you can say Damascus was hit. So these two airports was hit. It's in the initial days of the war. I think it was the day 3 of the war. Now the conflict has escalated, and Israelis have started using long-range artillery and also their air force in bombing the bases of Houthis and Hezbollah. And Iran continues to warn, and it says, always uses a term that Iran never says we are going to counter Israel, but they always say resistance axis. Now Iran still is in a proxy mode. It's using its proxies because Hezbollah has suffered a bit of a setback here. Iran has actually reinforced Hezbollah with its one more militant group called Imam Hussein Brigade. Imam Hussein Brigade, led by its commander, you can see on this screen right now. It's been tweeted by them officially. The person on the picture, the rough sketch which has been made, is supposed to be the commander of the Imam Hussein Brigade. Imam Hussein Brigade is predominantly a Shia group, which was then part of Saddam Hussein's army. So it's a very, it's a 100% Shia group. Now, because we know Iran is a sizable majority of Shia majority country, so they have a brotherly alliance. Now to support Hezbollah, this brigade has been moved from Iraq to Lebanon now. So now Iran continues to escalate its proxy war against Israel. So now we have Jordan, we have in a way not Jordan because ruled by nobody. So we have Houthis, we have Hezbollah, we have the Islamic Jihad. Now we have the Imam Hussein Brigade joining them, and it's being supported by actively by Iran. Now when we look at the IDF, we always said ground operations, whatever tanks you may have, whatever amount of special forces you may have, but when you enter a build-up area, it's going to be really tough for the invading army. That is what precisely is happening to the Israeli Defense Forces now. They have not gone into a mass attack, but they are going into a kind of a precise attack on specific areas where they believe that Hamas is going to be there. So yesterday, one battalion commander of Israeli forces at the rank of a colonel has been killed in an operation, and he belongs to the Golani's 13th Brigade. So 17th casualties, Israeli soldiers had been killed after entering Gaza, when we can start up the ground operations. Till date, Israel has lost 333 ground soldiers and double of them have got injured. Now entering a build-up area, we have a lot of issues. Like a tank can now be simply be taken by a very low cost, Stinger rockets or a missile or a shoal fire, manpads, even a drone. What happens is, like, if you look at a tank, it's been heavily armored. It has got ERA, explosive reactive armored. What that means is, you can see that box kind of a structure which it has, a honeycomb kind of a structure. When a missile comes in, it senses, and the explosive reactive armored is basically an package of explosive which blows away and tries to divert the incoming missile. Now we have seen such tanks being taken like pot shots, like sitting ducks in Ukraine-Russia war. Russia later on enhanced its tanks with sensors and to enable them to understand to enable the tank to sense it much earlier, and then to fire a missile on the incoming, so that or move the tank away. Now none of this will work in a build-up area, because tank can be shot as close as 5 meters to 15 meters. So none of the sensors would have the time to sense the incoming missile, because it's going to be a high velocity one and it's going to be shot from a close proximity. Now you understand what it actually means. Now if you take the soldiers out of the BMPs or the armored vehicles or from the tanks, they again have more risks of getting killed by the soldiers who are in hiding, or in this case the Hamas terrorists who have taken Gaza as a base. Now we have seen a Russian media video where a Russian reporter was called by Hamas, invited by Hamas. She goes inside the Hamas tunnel. So it's a parallel city, which is like, if there are 10 buildings above the soil in Gaza, there are 5 of equal massive size tunnels which exist. So it is impossible for Israel to go into each and every tunnel. Israel is also trying technologies, and in Desi language we call it as a jugaad. The technology right now, they haven't disclosed it, but it is quite interesting. It's worth to do a detailed study on it. They are using artificial intelligence to identify fresh Hamas targets. Now this is the words. What we can understand right now is, they are using videos which are available on the internet, posted by Hamas, posted by Palestinians, posted by various OSINT and their own drone cams and stuff. So these are taken, and there is an AI which generates and identifies who is a potential Hamas terrorist. So they are targeting those specific locations. Or on the Desi front, they are using something like a sponge bomb, which is nothing but it's not an explosive. It's a bit of a packed chemical. When it is thrown inside, it builds up into a foam, and then the foam solidifies and blocks the passage. This is effectively used in undersea piping and all this area where they want to stop the leakage. But here Israel is trying to use that in the tunnels, but none of the stories have come up. We really don't know how successful it is. If it has been successful, Israelis would have put up a video by now. None of that thing is happening. But Israeli ground forces are costing them dear, and they claim that they have been able to neutralize a lot of Hamas terrorists who have been held up inside the Gaza. Apart from this, the hostility has gone into the people now. In West Bank, in the certain occupied areas of the West Bank, where Israeli settlements are there, they have burnt shops of Palestinians. And Palestinians have killed one Israeli truck driver in Jerusalem. Now, the people have also started to react. This is not a good news at all. It's not a good news at all. I would say we can just see traces of civil war tendency coming into this, because people are supposed to be out of the war zone, or the transcripts and the reservists, they will eventually fight a war. That's a different story. But we have seen this clashes happening not only in Israel, somewhere across the globe. So night operations is costing Israeli army dearly. Another news which has come up right now is US special forces are actively training the Israelis in terms of counter-terrorism operations in a build-up area, or it's offensive operations in a build-up area, because they have enough of experience in Iraq, in Syria, in Afghanistan. These guys have been fighting there for quite a time. So they are present and they are being able to fight, or they are not fighting directly. In fact, they are supporting and training the Israeli defense forces into how to operate inside a build-up area. The third ship of US, the strike group, has been placed in Mediterranean Sea, and US Air Force have struck one of I think it's a Hezbollah target, and they disconnected, they deaffiliated that attack from the ongoing conflict in Israel and Hamas. They said it's a standoff action because our forces inside Syria was targeted by Hezbollah, so we hit them back. So we are trying to kind of de-hyphenate it, because otherwise it look like Israelis and being supported by American soldiers, and the war is getting much bigger. Now, when we look at Iran, what does Iran have as an options? So can Iran declare a war on Israel, or Iran say that we will do a preemptive strike on Israel? So Israel and Iran, if you look at the map, they are 2000 plus kilometers away. If Iran has a very strong ground force, there is no doubts about it, and they are trained and they have battle experience. But the problem is, it's because it's two countries away. There are two countries in between, which is Iraq and Syria. Establishing a logistics base would be too difficult a task for the Iranian forces. So in that sense, if Iran decides to send its army on ground, if they want to do a ground attack on Israel, they have to pass through two countries. Even if they have a passage, these countries have very strong US bases and very strong NATO bases, we can't forget that. And extending their logistic support, the classical example is the Russian foolishness which they did in Ukraine. The chewing gum was going on, and then one point of the time the tank got stuck inside in the outskirts of the Ukraine capital, and later the supply lines were cut off and the tanks became a sitting ducks, and Russia ended up losing around 1700 tanks over a period of 6 to 7 months. Later on they withdrew from all the places and went east of Dnieper river. Similarly, Iran would face the same thing here. First of all, it has to face the wrath of the US based strong military base there. US 3 strike battle groups are there in the Mediterranean Sea, and also their logistics. So because of 3 reasons, I don't think so Iran will launch a ground offensive against Israel. What other options do they have? They can launch an air attack. They can launch but the air superiority of Israel is far better than Iran. That option of air raids doesn't exist with Iran as of now, because they have to literally do mid-air refueling and a lot of other stuff, because they have to fly 2000 kilometers away, and the US bases in Syria and Iraq have sizable amount of Patriot batteries, and they have sizable amount of air defense which can shoot down the Iranian planes. So that's not going to happen. Iran has an option of either using their ballistic and hypersonic missiles, which they claim to have it. Ballistic for sure they have it. Hypersonic, it has to be tested in the battle. They can use and create an havoc with their low cost kamikaze or called the suicide drones. If that option is exercised, Israel will have a tough time, there is no doubts about it. But at what cost is the bigger question. If Iran does a direct attack on Israel, we all know Iran's nuclear program is almost 90% over. They have been guarding it irrespective of the repeated attacks by Israelis, killing of their scientists, and cut down their atomic fuel, and so this will put their nuclear program in danger. It will give a golden opportunity for Israel to justify the world. Yes, because we have a nuclear threat now, we are going to preempt the strike. Iran had struck us, Iran had killed your citizens. Now we are going to do some precision strikes on Iran. So all this 20-30 years of effort and the help from China and Russia, that is going to cost very, very dear for Iran. So Iran, as of now, doesn't have an option of going into a direct war with Israel, but they will continue their proxy war. As we said, the Hezbollahs have been reinforced with the Imam Hussein brigade. There are a lot of other splinter groups, ex-ISIS terrorists, ex-ISIS Al-Qaeda terrorists, who are freely available now to be deployed. So those forces may be sent to the Israeli border, and they would try to reinforce Hezbollah with this kamikaze zones and turf. But if they try to if Hezbollah uses the Iranian drones against Israel, it again opens up a window for Israel to launch an air raid on the Iranian's nuclear facility. So it's a very tricky situation for Iran. We hope so this country doesn't go into a direct confrontation with this. And moreover, Iranian sizable amount of military hardware is from Russia, and getting spare parts, maintenance, MROs, that is going to be a big issue for Iran. So hope so Iran doesn't get into this. But this actually is getting escalated. This is like pockets of these armies are clashing in Syria and Iraq. There were reports of 3 to 4 Saudi soldiers who were killed by the Houthis. So Saudi is also in high alert. Egyptian army is flexing its muscles. It's doing some war drills. It's showing its war readiness. So things are not so fine in the Middle East. It may spiral out of control if something like this hospital incident in Gaza happens. So things are very, very volatile. It's not a good thing, neither for the Middle East nor for the world, because we are going to face hikes in fuel prices, inflation, and it's not a great thing to have inflation at this point of time for any country. And smaller economies which is still struggling to come out of COVID, a lot of countries have gone bankrupt. They are literally going to be under pressure. And the dream of this Arab world of becoming a non-oil economy, like Dubai focuses on the logistics, Jabalali port, and they want to build more ports, make Dubai a logistics hub. Saudi is building a dream city, a single wall city, a world city to attract tourism. And so Qatar, we know Saudi has betted, just won the bid for 2034 FIFA World Cup. Qatar just did a World Cup in the current year. They want to make Formula One as being a sports tourism economy. All this will go for a 6 if these countries start fighting with each other. Hope sense remains, and this entire war comes to an end for the betterment of the human community. So globally, this has created ripples globally as well. We have seen instances in Russia where a mob of people, Russia is a very stringently ruled country. Even there we have seen a mob just entering into the airport, going into the tarmac, literally hijacking a flight and then searching for Jews there. There are clashes of Jew students being booed by others in US. There are reports of pro-Hamas protest, banning of groups in Germany, in Belgium, and a lot of other countries. Bolivia's cut off the diplomatic ties with Israel. Jordan has cut off diplomatic ties with Israel. So lots of pro-Israel and pro-Palestine scenarios are building up in the world. Now one important report which came right now is FBI has warned the US government that there may be attack by Hamas inside US, maybe a lone wolf attack, or maybe a low, maybe or even not a scale of a higher scale attack, but there are possibilities of a terror attack in US. So US internal defense, which is the FBI, and the police are also on high alert. We really have to see what's exactly happening there. And one report has put up, this is going to have far-fetched impact on various democracies which are going to come up for elections either in the current year or the next year, like India and US. US again is going to have their fresh elections. Biden may seek for a re-election. So they say Michigan once used to be the Democratic stronghold, especially Biden's stronghold at one point of time. They had said that they conducted a recent survey a few days before. They say Biden will lose Michigan. The reason behind is there are close down to 35,000 Arab votes. The Arabs who have settled in US or US citizens now, their vote bank is there, which then supported Biden, will go against them. I don't know whom they will vote exactly, for Democrat or Republic. Both are taking a hard pro-Israel stand as of now. But there is a clear anger of the minorities, especially the Muslims from the Arab world who are settled in US, against Biden. Now this phenomena is going to be there in all the countries, which includes India as well. So let's in the next update see what is happening here. So this is a compilation of all the important events which is happening. We can give you the sources if you want, if you want, in the description. Hope you like this video. Do share this video with your families and friends, and do subscribe the channel and keep the bell icon updated. We will try to post one video on the geopolitical subject in our channel, the MMK Eagle View. Thank you all. Jai Hind.